My proposed research question: how do the arts in school help children with their emotional and cognitive development, by Taylor Lyons. My who is early childhood, 3 to 6 years old. Visual arts is a form of art, and it's important for children because it aids in child's creativity and their motivation to create something. I will be researching and studying what different people in the childhood development and psychology fields say about art and why it's effective for child development in 2 areas, the emotional and cognitive. When is 1990 to 2021. My where is the United States. Why I want to further investigate why the arts are important to learn from an early age with cognitive and emotional development, and then how through meta-study and researching articles and analyzing. My project aims and objectives: to show others why it's important for young children who are around 3 to 4 years old why art is so important to development, to show that the visual arts help in the development of not only your brain but in the emotional aspect, why scribbling is important for kids to learn, and then how the arts help kids do better in school. Some of my research methods: the research design concept I will be using is meta-study. I will be researching and studying what different people in the child development and psychology fields say about art and why it's effective for child's development. Another concept my project will explain is the significance of cognitive development and art and the emotions related to art and painting. My project is quantitative because there is a broad variety of information. Some of the research I found studies they have a variety of statistics and tables of data that have been collected. My project is also secondary because I am not collecting data from human subjects. I am using professional journals or articles they publish to further my paper and my research question. It is also general qualitative approach because with art it is creative, and I am going to be doing painting of the data and statistics or charts that will go with the studies. So some of my key literature is, the first one is drawing activities. This was helpful because this article gave insight into children who use drawing as a way to voice and generate what is going on around them if they don't want to voice it or can't. The article goes on to talk about how children's drawings are unique and different and how they interpret their feelings such as happiness, sadness, and anger. The second one is for emotional development is, this is important to my study because I am researching about emotional development, and this paper was about a study they did with 5 to 10-year-olds, but I focused on the 5 to 6. The data they got with the preference of color when they asked the kids, red and gray were the highest for the don't like category. The study was done on adults and children to see if adults associated with red with the negative meaning, just like the kids. For cognitive development, the first one, the essential role of scribbling. This is helpful because the author of the article goes through the process of scribbling and the stages. They go on to talk about scribbling becomes symbols, and the kids have their own elaborate meaning to what they draw, and they have a big vocabulary. Drawing helps kids have a sense of what is going on around them from TV or movies or books that they want to understand. The use of a sketchbook. This is helpful because kids were more engaged in school when they started drawing and were more engaged in activities. This article was talking about a teacher who gave her class a sketchbook because the kids weren't engaged and were too scared to get involved. But once they had a private place, they looked forward to the art time, and it wasn't a burden or something they didn't want to do anymore. They wanted to do more with the art. Some of my data collection: kids have a rich vocabulary accompanying children's scribbling. Children have different interpretations of drawings. So one kid could have two kids could have the same drawing and they can come up with different interpretations of it. By 22 months, 28% learned how to paint or draw by that age, which seems pretty low for kids wanting to learn. But as you can see, the other statistics were higher because that's what kids were engaged at the time. Kids got intimidated with the blank page. These kids saw an opportunity to draw, so they started drawing, but they weren't feeling it. But if kids weren't feeling it, they could use a different page. This is associated with cognitive development because it gets kids to experiment and think of what they want to draw in their sketchbook. Whatever their creative mind came up with, drawing, story, or poems, or even songs some of the kids came up with. Some more of the data that I found was kids use drawings as a way to express feelings that they can't voice, so they draw how they feel instead. Children tend to match bright colors with happy emotional expression and dark colors with sad. So the study did where they had a hypothesis because the results compared to the colors like yellow, red, and green versus blue, brown, and black, and the kids associated yellow, red, and green with happy emotions, and then blue, brown, and black with sad. Kids take their time on their drawings and use care with each mark they make, and thought went into it. Scribbling is a precursor to writing. And then the next few slides are just going to be some of the statistics and data from the article. So like this one is the preference of colors that the kids chose. And as you can see, green was the highest as they liked, and then gray was one of the colors that they didn't like. These were the colors associated with happiness and the data that came from that. So red, yellow, and green were the highest. And then brown wasn't so high, neither was black. So some of the research limitations: it's a meta-study, so I only have data that is published, and I'm not working with human subjects, so I don't have that data to pull from. One of my questions was whether or not knowing the arts is beneficial long term.